Good morning. It's time for a gear review. I completed 425 miles of the PCT in 2025. I learned a lot about new gear in that time, new gear to me. So I'm going to go over some of what I've learned. One thing to consider if you're looking at gear for yourself is that I did not experience the entire trail. I did not experience snow. I didn't get heavy rain. So possibly I have more to learn, but this will cover what I did learn during that period. This first section covers things that I liked. First off, my ULA Equipment Ohm backpack. I've had this for years. Works fantastic. I still love it. I hope it never wears out because I don't know what I would do. Probably just buy another Ohm. New gear that I used, this here, a bottle holster, sits on the front of the pack. I put a 750 milliliter smart water bottle in it with a pop top. Worked great. I've had issues on prior backpacking trips with getting dehydrated because my water was not easily accessible. This one worked fantastic. Highly recommend a bottle holster if you're not using a straw, which I don't like straws. Anyhow, this little piece of gear, my thermostat, I used it every day, multiple times per day, checking on temperature in the morning when I was deciding what to wear for the day, in the afternoon, or during the day while I was hiking. I would use it to have a better idea of what the outdoor temperature was so that I could help make appropriate choices for layers during the day. All right. Green fizzy tablets. This was a surprise to me. They are dissolvable fizzy tablets that you put in your water. I ended up using one of these tablets every day. It was the first thing that went into my water in the morning. Provides vitamins and minerals, whatever all is in there, plus a caffeine boost for some improved nutrition, and I guess, I don't know, I don't think there's electrolytes in here, but anyhow, highly recommend this. I used one of these every day. Rain mitts, Enlightened Equipment rain mitts. I didn't use them frequently, but in the mornings, if it was very cold, freezing or below freezing, I would just put these on over my bare hands. It wasn't raining, but just that extra layer provided a great bit of insulation. So I presume they're waterproof. I didn't get to experience that, but giving the additional benefit of just helping keep hands warm, I highly recommend those, or something similar. Topo Athletic brand. These shoes are the Pursuit 2. So I wore these for 425 miles. The uppers are still in fantastic shape. There's the one spot here where there was a wear. That all happened like in one day. I don't know what happened. I noticed it at the end of the day, but it's inconsequential where it is. The foam pops out, but my toes didn't come through. You can see they show very little, and I would almost say no signs of wear on the uppers other than that one spot. The tread is maybe half used, so I fully expect I would have gotten the 800 to 1,000 miles that other hikers have talked about getting out of these shoes. They were comfortable. I had only blisters on one toe and small blister on the side of each heel after a long day of downhill. So they fit great, they held up great. Can't say enough good things about these shoes. Injinji toe socks. These are brand new ones. I did, after 425 miles, I did throw out the pair that I was wearing. Not that they were worn out, but it's okay to start with a new pair of socks on my next hike. But anyhow, again, I don't know how much the socks contributed to a lack of blisters, but I will give them the benefit of the doubt and say that they helped a lot with that. Many hikers, most hikers had numerous blisters, and I had 2. And the 2 that I had were inconsequential. So I will be wearing toe socks for many future hikes. My inflatable pillow, Enlightened Equipment sent me this for free in the box. I didn't even know it was coming when I bought my quilt from them. It turned out to be a piece of gear that I used every day, and it made my sleeping far better than trying to invent pillows from gear stuffed in bags and so on. You just blow it up and it's good to go. My Nemo air mattress, this is a 3-season air mattress. It was much warmer than I anticipated. I've used other air mattresses in the past, but I'm always chilly on a cold day. This one, I slept on it all the way down to the coldest I saw was 24 degrees one morning when I got up. This was fabulous. It's because it has insulating factor. It is much heavier than a summer pad, so I will continue to use my summer pad when I'm doing summer hiking, but when I'm doing multi-season hiking, I will definitely be using this pad again. The weight was very much worth it. This is my puffy. If you watched my videos, you saw this quite often in the morning. It's a Z-Pax puffy, very lightweight. Turned out to be a perfect amount of insulation. I would wear this in the morning if it was cold when I was packing up. I'd wear it in the evening after we got done hiking. As soon as the sun started setting, the temperatures went down quickly, and this jacket was wonderful. One other comment I would make on it is that when I did wear it while hiking, it did a good job. I was worried, this outer fabric is very thin. I was worried that it was going to tear open as I worked my way through bushes, but it didn't. It held up very well. So, highly recommend that. This shirt here, this is my mid layer, and I'll just say generically, this is the first time that I've owned and worn an Alpha Direct fabric. I still don't necessarily like the look of the fabric, but boy did it work good. It kept me warm, very warm for the incredibly lightweight that these clothes are. This one, when I wore it hiking, it's kind of hard to see. There are some pulls on it, so I would say had I done the entire PCT as I planned, this probably would be going in the trash at the end of the hike, but can't say enough about the warmth to weight. This here is my rain jacket and doubles as a wind shirt. It's Innovate brand, meant for trail running. Extremely lightweight, lighter than almost any rain jacket I found. I can't say that I have experienced this with a heavy driving or an all-day rain, so that's some learning that I'll have to do in the future. But this again held up extremely well. I wore this on numerous days. There were stiff brush and even sometimes thorny brush along the PCT. I just charged right through it. I did not baby this jacket. It held up great, no tears, no signs of abrasion. Works fantastic as a as a windbreaker. Adds quite a bit of warmth when it's a chilly, windy day. So I'll be using this in future hikes. This is my quilt. You can see it has the straps here. It has two straps on the upper half for tying it down to your air mattress. Keeps the drafts out. First time I've ever used a quilt. I've always used sleeping bags in the past. Can't say enough good things about a quilt. I toss and turn at night quite a bit, and a quilt works so much better for that than a sleeping bag. A bag, I get all tangled up, and it ends up turning around, turning over, ends up waking me up. In the quilt, you just turn and it's just like a blanket over top. It's fantastic. This is a 20-degree quilt from Enlightened Equipment. It was, again, 24 degrees Fahrenheit at the lowest temperature that I saw on trail. I was warm in this every night. Last thing here, kind of a ball of fabric, but my Gossamer Gear, the One tent. I love this tent. It worked fantastic. It's a little bit crowded. I'm 5'7", and I put my sleeping bag at the bottom of the tent. If you were taller than me, that wouldn't work. You'd have to do something different with your backpack. But in any event, this tent worked great. Windy conditions. It did rain on me 1 or 2 nights, and that was all good. I will say every single layer tent does have condensation issues. It did on occasion drip on me in the morning when I would be getting up from all the condensation. I carried a small rag with me that I would sometimes wipe out the inside of it so it wasn't quite as wet when I stuffed it into my pack, but it held up great. It's a very thin fabric, lightweight tent. I'll be using this for solo backpacking trips in the future. Okay, the next category are things that I carried the entire 425 miles that I should not have carried. I should have sent these or had these in my package going to Kennedy Meadows as I entered the Sierra. I did not need these in the 24-degree Fahrenheit and up temperatures. First one is my stocking cap. In the past, I've worn my stocking cap at night when I sleep, even in cool summer temps. This time I didn't need it. All of my base layers, or all of my other layers had hoodies on them, so I just stacked up my hoodies and worked out great. So I would only bring this cap for actual snowy conditions. I have Injinji sock liners. Again, I would put these in my Sierra package or a cold weather package rather than carrying them on the temperatures that I was in. They just weren't needed. Same story for my buff. If it's not snowy and cold, it's not needed. At least for me, it was not needed. I had not even discomfort with the temperatures that I was in, even the day that it hailed or snowed or whatever you call the little snowballs that were falling on me. The buff was just not necessary. So I'll bring that with me up into the Sierras when I go, if it's still snowy season, and see if I need it up there. My Brenier base layer with the fishnet holes, same story there. I never needed it in the temperatures that I was in. I will bring it with me when I'm going to do a colder temperature or possibly wetter. We'll see. I have more learning to do on this, but definitely not needed for the spring and summer style hiking that I did. The last one, this may be a little controversial, sunglasses. These are UVA, UVB, and polarized. Some hikers wore sunglasses all the time. I ended up never wearing them. Maybe that's bad for my eyes. Lots of opportunity for discussion there, but for me, I just didn't wear them. I would definitely wear them in the Sierras when you're in snowy conditions, so you don't get snowblind or sunburn your eyes. But in normal spring and summer hiking, sunglasses are just not something that I do. So rather than carry these, they aren't very heavy, but rather than carry them, I should have sent them in my Sierra package. The next category is gear that I didn't use or almost didn't use. First one here, the backpacker bidet. Hook that, you screw that onto a water bottle, and it sprays out a directed stream of water. You use that after pooping to clean yourself better. I didn't end up using it. I couldn't figure out what to do with a soaking wet butt, so I just didn't use it. More learning to do there. After 5 days of hiking, you do get pretty stinky when you can't get a shower, can't reasonably clean yourself or fully clean yourself. So some people carried baby wipes. Some people did use the bidet. Some people did nothing more than paper like I did. So I think there's room for me to have a better solution, but I just didn't end up using this. Maybe I will in the future, but I didn't use it this trip. This little piece here, this is a coupling for a Sawyer squeeze. It helps you connect a hanging water bladder like a C-knock. I didn't use the C-knock. I actually bought this because I thought it was going to be helpful for back flushing my Sawyer squeeze. It actually isn't. The Sawyer squeeze comes with a cap that you can very reasonably use for back flushing, so this was not necessary. If you have a hanging water bottle, then it could be very nice. So you fill your bladder with dirty water, put the coupling to the Sawyer, or sorry, you put your bottle to the Sawyer, and then the Sawyer to your clean water bottle, and you just hang it and it gravity feeds. That would be nice. I just wasn't using that gear, so this piece was not necessary. This here is a net, a storage net that goes in my tent. I thought it was going to be really useful to hang up more things. Turns out I never used it. Nothing wrong with it. It's very lightweight, probably perfect for what it was intended for. I never used it. And the last thing, this foam pad, ultralight foam pad. It's very thin. I was going to use this for cowboy camping. I did actually use it one time when cowboy camping at Mike's place inside a shed to keep splinters and whatever else off the floor from popping my air mattress, and it worked fine. That was the only time I used it. As I think about things I probably will just use in the future, if I'm going to cowboy camp or have other situations like that where I need to protect my air pad, I'll probably just use the plastic that I have for a footprint for my tent rather than this foam pad. So again, nothing wrong with it. Perfectly designed for what it is, but turns out not a piece of gear that I need. And my last category is gear that didn't work for me. I only have one item in this list, and that is this ultralight nail style tent stake. I bought 6 of these. I ended up having to throw away 4 of them because they failed. Uh, Part of the problem was that there were a number of places where the soil was either very rocky or even if it was just dirt, it was extremely hard. So one of these failed. I was using too big of a rock to pound it into hard soil and I broke the top. 3 of them failed because I was using them in very hard soil, and I used a smaller rock, got them pounded in only about halfway because that was about as far as they could go. I almost couldn't pull them out of the ground. They were in so good in the morning. And 3 of them, when I did finally pull them out, this tip was still deep in the ground, no way to retrieve that. So that stake was just useless after that. They're great in the right conditions. They're very lightweight. They hold very well. So I was very pleased with that. But if you're not going to be in some kind of a loose soil, sandy or dirt or something fairly easy to pound into, they just didn't work for me. So on a long trail, not a good idea for me. On a short trip where you have fairly well-known conditions, maybe they're great. What I did end up using, and it was just whatever I could find at the gear shops in town, I used these 2 triangular shaped stakes. I was able to pound them into hard soil. Even when it was rocky, they seemed to work their way around most of the smaller rocks. I was able to pull them out every morning. They held well, so they are a little bit heavier, but much broader range of uses. So that's what I will be carrying most of the time in my stake bag in the future. So that's all I have for gear as a review. Lots more gear that I carried and used, but these were the standout items. If you have specific questions about how things worked or other gear that I didn't mention, if you have questions about brands and usage, feel free to drop a comment below and I'll keep an eye on the comments for a while and respond to those. This concludes my PCT 2025 section hike videos. Hope to see you again in future videos as I hike more of the PCT and/or other trails. Bye now.